loud and ready to flow. BRUDDC and Giddy got a show to blow.
Lifestyle is wild like a wild dream. I still don't know the words. What is up, good people? You're watching the BRUDDC and Kitty show. Kitty, how are we doing on this Friday afternoon?
Happy Friday. Welcome to the weekend.
Happy Friday. How are we doing?
I'm all right. I'm a bit pissed off because obviously Forest lost last night.
Oh no, Forest. What are they like? And Kitty, we have a guest today from across the pond, the lovely dark Nimbus. Nimbus, how are we doing there, buddy?
I'm good. I mean, I've been banned from everywhere again, so I'm working my way up. But when is the internet not banning me? You know what I mean? Like, here I am again. Shit.
Okay. You haven't been saying anything controversial, have you, this time?
Well, we're getting there. I mean, I'm in my late 30s now, so I'm kind of like more centered on stacking cash than starting shit. And after grabbing the sword of attention, I know what the consequences are, and I'm just developing systems to prepare for the next wave, which is going to be 10 times more controversial than before. I'm sure that there will be people trying to kill me this time. I'm sure of it.
Wow. I hear you. And what are your whole thoughts on America as a whole? Because obviously, today we're going to be talking about America, UK, Donald Trump. He said a few things that have upset us across the pond. We're unhappy. I think he said something that's upset everyone. I think this guy has single-handedly managed to turn pretty much every other country that's not an arse licker of America against you guys at the minute. So what are your thoughts on Trump and how he's doing at the minute?
I think it's hilarious, and I mean, like I said, I'm not like a Trump Biden guy or whatever. Like, I haven't voted in years, right? I just look at things logically, but I'm also an American, so I mean, my attitude is sticking my finger up in the air and telling people, do something about it, and then kind of, waving my dick around and seeing what I could get away with, because that's just the American way. That's how we are, right? And that's how he is, and it's funny. So whether you love him or hate him, it's a hell of a show, and it's entertaining, because when was politics just not a bunch of, influencers fighting over power and waving their dicks at each other? And that's kind of what's happening.
We get the fun and entertainment side of it, but we've got a video over here, and Trump has said a few things regarding the Iraq war that has definitely upset a few people in this country, I would say. Let's have a look at the video real quickly.
The front line in Afghanistan, where hundreds of British troops paid the ultimate sacrifice. So this, from President Donald Trump on US television, does not sit well over here.
We've never needed them. They'll say they sent some troops to Afghanistan or this or that. And they did. They stayed a little off the front lines.
The comments came from a president who admits he avoided military service himself by deferring the Vietnam call-up multiple times. Now outraged this morning from across the political spectrum.
So basically, the gist of that, he's basically said that he's never needed the UK. Our soldiers basically played second fiddle, even though hundreds died in these wars that we kind of followed America's lead on at the minute. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is that hold on one second here. My thoughts is that behind the rage and the madness, there is a series of tests that's going on, just like him fiddling with Greenland and, rubbing his balls in the face of multiple people. This is a test of power, and he has done this consistently over the length of his political career and his business career as well, where he sort of tests the waters. It's kind of like if you're in a relationship with a woman and she pisses you off on purpose to see what she can get away with. Well, men who are in power do this as well on the global stage, and that's what he's doing. And he could have done it for giggles, or he could have done it to say, the UK, our biggest, strongest ally, how much could I piss them off? Really, do they have any balls in the game anymore, any balls at all? Where do we really stand as America? If we bully people, can we really get away with it? How much can we get away with until people start getting pissed off and taking pot shots at us? And that's just, it is what it is, man. It's the game.
Do you think he's done that to strike a reaction to the UK?
Do I think he's what?
you think he's done this to get a reaction from the UK?
Yeah, everything is a reaction in the game of power and influence. Just like when I create social media posts or Andrew Tate creates social media posts, everybody's constantly testing their power and feeding their egos and seeing what they could get away with. And absolutely, the UK, I mean, everybody has been hunky-dory for quite some time. And the new American policy of taking over shit is increasingly getting more aggressive, and he's testing the waters because he wants to see who's going to stop him and who's going to say shit. And it looks like he remains uncontested and does whatever he wants, and that's just, it is what it is,
Well,
right?
where I come from, that's fine. Any as illusions, which was bad enough, and I think more than enough to get a reaction out. But the kind of I think it's just downright that people are
Well,
in a war started for no.
Yeah, I understand how you're offended, but I mean, I don't get emotional about these things. When I listen to men who are in power, I think about them more strategically and why they're doing them the way that they're doing. Right. So yeah, I mean, you getting pissed off is part of the purpose of him saying shit like that. Sure.
I just think it's. I think I understand where you're coming from. Calling us losers was enough, but to basically piss off people's. I can't abide with that. That's not. That's the problem. That's the man. You know, it's nearly disrespectful to me as saying that Holocaust didn't exist. It just.
I suppose, Kitty, as well, the ultimate slap in the face would be that, like, you know, most people kind of, like, you know, everyone's awake. We know why we went. We know why we destabilized the Middle East. Like, you know, everyone pretty much knows that why. Like, you know, people wanted to do their own deals, and America said, "Hell no, you're not doing it." People wanted to like stop trading in dollars, and America said, nah, not gonna happen. Just like Venezuela at the minute, like, you know. But I do feel that all this nutsack shoving down everyone's face is going to have a very negative effect. And I would go as far as to say that, like, you know, I think personally, like I know Nimbus, you said that you like the sort of reactionary kind of stuff that Trump does and stuff, but I think it's got to a point now that it's got dangerous. And Americans are so divided. Like, you know, Trump's talking about slapping his nutsacks in everyone's face, but you guys are so divided. Families, like the lovely Renee, the late Renee, the love, you know, a white lady, and it's being condemned. It's being like almost, oh, she's an extreme lefty. You can shoot her in the face for trying to drive away from an ICE agent. Like, you know, you lot have gone so far away. Like, you know, you don't even care about people that look exactly like you. Before it was like, you know, people of color getting shot, and then it was just like, yeah, whatever. The Republicans kind of thought, like, you know, but now you lot can you lot are so divided in America. You can shoot a woman that looks just like you lot, just like you, one of yours, just like looks like your mum, your sister, anyone, and it will be condemned as she was a crazy lefty. I feel like that's the danger point.
You know, that's a very interesting phenomenon there. And the way that I deal with it, because I have impartiality in all situations, you know, not being on any sides, but my own self-interest, as everybody is. They like to believe they're ideological, but it's just that their ideology is feeding their self-interest. The thing is that when it comes to me and my relationship with the state, is that I stay out of the state's business. And I know that the state is God, literally, and they have power over my life and liberty. And if I mess with them, they're going to kill me, and they're going to get away with it. And it is what it is. It doesn't matter whether I approve of what they're doing or not. That is the way of the situation. Both the right and the left, I see them as people that I'm also not a part of, because I'm looking at everything situationally and from a perspective that has my self-interest in mind, instead of some group self-interest that I don't want to be a part of. It's not to say that some of the things the state does is in my self-interest, but whatever is in my self-interest, I'll support. I don't take any political sides. And yes, in any kind of ideological situation, including, people in the UK, there's people over there who are, committing violence against each other too. And they're all human beings, but yet they're fighting. So, I mean, when have humans not murdered each other over ideological differences? They've, for as long as we've existed, it's not different now than it was since the beginning of time. It's just we like to believe it is.
Yeah,
and that's it. I mean, people are animals, man, and they're tribal. I mean, what do you want?
I suppose this is becoming ultimately more that side of things is becoming more apparent now that that this is what it is. Like we all thought we lived in this fantasy of we've got this lovely democracy. We're the way to show everyone else how to live. And in fact, I would say all these freedoms, all these apparent things that are great, are probably destroying us within. Like there's no more religion. The family dynamics are dying out in the Western world. People aren't getting married. So things are having a serious effect. And if we continue this, but then it goes back to what you were saying as well. This isn't our world. This isn't our game. There's elites that run the world, and if you get too big, they will kick you down, or they will make you make a choice, whether life, death, prison, and that's the savage side of things.
Yes, the thing is that it's not just one group of elites running the world. It's a series of different clans of elites who are fighting over power, and there's a consistent fluctuating power dynamic that's occurring on the global political scale, but also at the micro scale. There's power dynamics within your own relationships, within the groups that you're a part of, and the political ideologies that people side with. I'm just a non-player, a non-participant in the system that sees through all this, and I chose to create my own system and exit the matrix, but also, kind of have my own bubble within it to extract what I wish from it without being part of the circus. Which is why I'm able to do the incredible guerrilla marketing stunts that I do through social engineering tactics, because I really understand what's going on. The thing is that, yes, people are waking up to the reality of how things really are. And yes, things like human rights and freedoms and all these things and right and wrong, they're just all social constructs. At the end of the day, the thing is that violence decides who's right and wrong. And if you're a peasant in the field and I'm the king, and I decide to come over and say, your wife is mine, and we're going to execute you, and we're going to sell your kids to slavery, then that you could cry about your rights all you want, but I'm the king. So what are you going to do? And that's it. That's how it always has been. Anything else is delusion, which is why I focus on stacking cash and increasing my own personal power and staying out of the way of the state and not bothering them. Because if I do, then I'm done, just like everybody else. Right? That's it.
Do you never think that there'll be a time when let's say the peasants step up and they go, no, we're not doing it? Because like you said, in these wars, it's the peasants as such as we're calling them.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider myself part of the peasantry, though. I'm like the king of my own world. The peasants are always they're always going to rebel, and then the rebellion is always going to be squashed. And then society is going to come to order again, and then there's going to be new people in power. So the cycle continues, and that's just the way of things, because naturally there's a hierarchy that takes place, and there's power voids that get filled. And the thing is that nothing changes for you, the peasant, unless you empower yourself, and that's always been my message to people. So, yeah, they will rebel, but to what extent, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't really care. I'm going to get my piece of the pie anyway. So if this society burns down, I'll be okay. So I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, but the thing is, in America, you guys have guns. Like, if we had guns, the kickoff would already be here, mate. Like, it'd be horrible. It would if people in the UK had guns and you were able to go buy rifles and shotguns. Trust me, we'd be worse than America right now. But the fact that you guys have the guns and you are so divided, you've got people in communities saying now, like, that they're arming themselves to sort of protect themselves from ICE. Like, they're standing up to ICE. They're standing up to the sort of Trump sort of government, his bunch of foot soldiers, his bunch of mercenaries that he's hired to join the ICE. Some of the bonuses that he's given them, and they're all sort of like kind of proud boy-y, kind of proud boys kind of thing, kind of vibe. And, I feel like you guys are one bad situation away from them guns going off. And when them guns start going off, people that are just living their life neutral, just saying like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not left, I'm not right, I'm just driving my van around, doing my thing, making my money. I think no matter what, eventually you'll have to pick a side, or you'll have to get a whole load of guns. And I know you're well equipped in that department.
Sure. Well, I mean, the thing is that it doesn't matter like what you would like to believe. Like if people like rebel or whatever, no one's going to fight the federal government and win. It's not going to happen. That's what people don't understand, is that they're the federal government and they're going to do what they want to do. And if you try to stop them, they're going to use extreme levels of violence to complete their narrative. I'm not saying I'm for them or against them. I'm just explaining, how things are. Is that?
But that'll be. Sorry, Nimbus. Right? But that sounds like a civil war kind of talk, because I do think the government, like, because you guys are so divided, like in terms of left and right. Like, because you are so divided, you've got governors and stuff that are left and right. There's enough power there to stand up to the government. I feel like that's like, you've got police officers, you've got police chiefs that are left and police chiefs that are right and stuff. Like, you've got there's enough substance there. And no matter what, if people start shooting, if ICE agents start getting shot, if police start getting shot, like, if they start shooting back at the people, that's probably the worst thing that you could do, because then it's all out war. And yes. you Americans are already known for your sort of doomsday sort of preparation. Like, you can get doomsday packages, baseball bat, shotguns. Like, there are some people that are just waiting to sort of go back to the old days of just turning up, shooting a whole load of people, taking their women. Like, there's people that can't wait for that.
Sure, but I would love to be Genghis Khan, but that's never going to happen again. So the thing is that you have to look at each of these political sides, and it just so happens that the right wing of the political spectrum that supports the actions of the federal government right now, they're extremely equipped and they're combat hardened military veterans, and people on the left are not. They're overweight, they're mentally ill, and they're not going to combat or fight anybody to any degree. So you really have to look at these factions and where their strengths and weaknesses are. So civil war, there's been an ideological civil war going on over social media and in politics for quite some time. Yes, there are business people who support, different factions, and there are governors who support different factions. But at the end of the day, if there's a state in the United States that rebels against the federal government will come in and squash them and arrest the governor, even if they have to. This is just what I'm predicting will happen. Is there going to be some kind of nationwide violent war? I don't know. And I sincerely hope not for the leftist people, because they would lose incredibly quickly. They would stand no chance. And this is just me impartially looking at the situation as a non-participant.
If that was to happen, what would you do? Would you pick a side, or would you stay neutral? I don't know.
I would just stay at my little off-grid compound in the mountains, one of many, and stay out of it, because I have no interest in sacrificing my life for any kind of ideology or any kind of nation or flag or anything. I really am just for myself and my own survival.
I think that's a healthy way to be right now, to be honest. I think
at least he can protect himself as well. But you can buy your guns and you can say, right, and you lot do what you're doing. I'm not. Maybe you're neutral. You have your white flag flying high and be like, I'm not bothered with all this sort of stuff. If you come near me, then obviously I'm gonna protect myself.
Well, I wish they would consider me neutral, but
I don't think they would. I don't think they would.
No, they don't. The leftist communities that I've frequently come in contact with, they hate me. I could see it in their eyes, and they automatically pin me as a right-wing participant because of the color of my skin and my lifestyle and all the other things. So, and then the people on the right hate me because I'm not traditional and I'm willing to break social norms and I don't care about their narrative. So nobody likes me.
I think it's really a horrible place to be right now, is in the middle. And I would say that BRUDDC and I here in the UK, we're very much in the middle, because we're not on the right and we're not on the left. And I think it's a really horrible situation to be in, because the left and the right are calling. They're out there whistling and asking for everybody to pick sides. And I think it's so horrible for those of us that are awake and just don't want any part of it, just want to go and build our own lives.
Well, whether you want a part of it or not, you're going to have to deal with it. It's just how you deal with it. And if you have leverage to take yourself out of the situation and still survive what's to come, then you'll be fine, right? But yeah, if you're caught in the middle and you don't want to participate, but the situation is going to negatively affect you, then you're going to have to make some hard choices. I mean, we can see in history where countries have been invaded and people have decided to join the winning side because they didn't have a choice, right? So, I mean, this is just the way of things.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we worry about, Nimbus. We worry, especially with we've kind of got a leaning right kind of party kind of in the lead at the minute for the polls in the next 3 years, which is Reform, and they've got a leader, Nigel Farage, and he's right up Trump's ass. He spoke about privatizing the NHS, which will be civil war on its own if he tries to do that. There's talk of mandatory sort of sneaky conscriptions and stuff. There's loads of videos, loads of things going on about that. I just worry about, like you said, us being obligated to sort of follow America into more wars. And like me and Kitty have been saying, we feel that the UK needs to stand firm, stand strong, but stand independently, not be obligated to come and join America because they want to kidnap someone's president, or steal someone's resources. They can't beat China, and they can't beat China and Russia and the BRICS currency fairly with trade, so they have to literally steal people's stuff. I feel
here's how I see this. You're still taking a moral stance to the issue. When Venezuela got invaded, I asked myself, what kind of stocks can I invest in to make some money off of this situation? I don't really give a shit what's going on or who's affected. I care about how much money I can make and what benefits me while the world is burning. And that's how you have to think. That's how you're going to survive.
You sure you're not a Republican, no?
No, I'm just essentially like an egoist non-participant of the system. I'm completely for myself. As I said, everybody is. But the reason why people make moral arguments is because often if you make moral arguments or you side with a moral cause, you could look at yourself and tell yourself that you're a good person at the end of the day, and then you get approval by your peers in your group and they say you're good too, but it doesn't make you any money necessarily, but sometimes it does. Maybe if you start a church and become a pastor, you can make $1 million, right? It's all situational, but me, I'm more concerned about money and what benefits me. Yes, America is going down the imperialist route right now. It could be the great imperialist reawakening of America invading countries and sacking them and taking their resources. Will that benefit me economically? I don't know. Will it only benefit the billionaires in America? I don't know. How can I benefit off of it? I have to figure that out. Is it going to happen whether I like it or not? Yes, it is. And that's it.
So you genuinely think that they are going to be there's going to be more? They're ransacking.
They have to. The thing is, they have to. If America don't, if countries, what's made America so economically strong is the fact that other countries have been forced to trade in certain products in the currency of the US dollar. Now BRICS have come together and they've launched their unit currency, which like these countries are trading together now. America can't do that. America's dollar used to be based on gold, like now it's based like if America runs up debt, America says it's was it 50 trillion in debt or something like that. A country, how can a country seriously be in debt if they can just write and print more money? Like it's non-existent.
Yes.
It's non-existent.
Yeah, Brud is right. Brud is right. America does have to keep engaging in these activities to give strength to their dollar through the U.S. military and the collection of resources. People know this, and I even understand this as an American. So that's why I look at these things impartially, because this is how the system here has been set up. And it does need to keep happening in order for this American economy to survive. And historically, that has been the way of things here. And it will continue to be, and must be, if it's to continue to thrive, right? But that's every nation. Every powerful nation is. Even the UK had colonies all over the planet, which it benefited from in its imperialist efforts. This is just how things are. The Vikings raided parts of Britannia and other places and took their resources.
Everywhere they could go. And we understand that. But I think we just want to believe in this day and age that, there's a better way of doing things rather than just turning up on shore.
There isn't a better way, because there's no world peace. Nobody's ever going to agree on anything.
I think if America treated people fairly and made better deals, it's like I come to you, Nimbus, I say to you, right, I want to do 50 trillion in deals or something like that over 5 or 10 years, and you say to me, wait a minute, this deal doesn't benefit me, I don't want to deal with you, I want to go to China. It's then up to you to say, right, okay, it kind of sucks, that deal, let's renegotiate and let's make a better deal. Trump prides himself on the art of the deal. Surely there's a better way. Like China, whether we like it or not, they go to African countries and they say, right, we're going to give you this, we're going to build this for you, and you have to give us this. They know the countries will never be able to pay them what they've promised, so they take it that way. A bit more ruthless, but no one's getting kidnapped and no one's getting killed, and at least the countries are getting something for their money, sort of.
If I'm stronger than you, why would I negotiate with you? I'm just going to take what you have. Why would I negotiate with a weaker entity? This is what you're not understanding about human nature. There's no need to negotiate with a weaker country. You just tell them what they're going to do. If they don't listen, you take everything. That's the way of the world. It's the way of everything. It's the way of nature itself. Does the lion negotiate with the caribou, or does he just eat it alive? Come on now, man.
Yeah, I think, see, this is the thing, though. I feel like that, because there are other powers, like China and Russia combined with the BRICS, with the whole of BRICS, though, and let's just be fair, China could destroy America in 2 seconds, just as fast as you could destroy them. Same with Russia, same with North Korea. In India, Pakistan, they're all nuclear powers and they're all part of BRICS. You guys are flirting with war, and I feel like putting your head in the cloud right now, which we're all kind of doing in a way, saying we're not picking sides, we just want to live our lives. That means shit when the nukes start coming and dropping, and only the elites are in their bunkers. And they're already planned for it. They've got their plans. So I feel like the people have to start rising up and start morally looking at things, because when them nukes start getting dropped, trust me, unless you're an A-lister, does anyone know where any bunkers are?
I don't think that's going to happen. That would be mutually assured destruction, and none of these global leaders are stupid enough to do that, because the end of the world means the end of them, because if there's no world to control, they don't have any power. I don't think that they want to live in a bunker for the rest of their life.
Have you seen some of these bunkers? Have you seen some of these bunkers that they've got? They're like palaces.
Yeah,
they can hold. I've gone down some rabbit holes and I've seen some of these doomsday bunkers that are all over, situated all around the world in strategic sort of areas, sort of thing, where they, where radiation and all that sort of stuff would sort of like blow away quite fast, and not fast, but you know what I mean. Like they're safe in their bunkers ultimately. And I don't, with Elon Musk having so much influence over the world, and you know this man has openly come out and said that there'll come a time when there'll be more robots than people. And this is the thing that people need to understand. These sick elite people, if they ever figure out a way of sustaining the world with robots, they might say to themselves, do we really need these peasants? We can get robots to run the world for us, like, you know. And to a certain level, like, you know, to some countries, you know, we just can't predict how sick these people are and what they're willing to do. Look at COVID, for instance. You can't tell me that the elites weren't involved.
Okay,
in
so
some
right,
sense.
so right there, I want to stop you right there when you said that when the robots can do it all, they'll find us useless. And now, if you look at that point and you look at all my actions and my attitudes, and me building off-grid compounds and me being involved in cybersecurity and technology and all of that and everything, and making money as an entrepreneur in multiple areas, now you understand what I'm preparing for. Right? If you look at that right there with automating the workforce populace, it's going to happen, and there's going to be a global catastrophe of useless people who could no longer find work, and I'll find myself fat and happy with still plenty of cash rolling in because I'll take advantage of that chaos and still figure out a way to make money while everybody else suffers because they never learned technology, they never learned how to manipulate these machines, they never learned AI. They never learned anything. So that's what you should be preparing for, and that's the attitude you should have, the one that you already have.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, though, that's like quite savage. Like, you know, not I mean, like let's just think about it, guys. Elon Musk's 20K robot can do pretty much anything. It's basically like a doctor, a physician. Like, it can do anything. Fix cars. Like, it knows everything. £20,000 this robot costs. How much is the average salary in the world, basically? Like, you know, so you could it will
That's
make
right.
sense. It will make sense for them just to have robots to work.
And I'll tell you what, if we could put a pair of titties on that and a vagina that works, I'll sell them.
100%. That's already there. You know, that's already there already. That's unfortunately, this is the nature of men. You've just been introduced to the nature of men. This is how they think. Like, as soon as these commercials started going on robots, the first thing, if you go down the comments, the men wanted to know was, are these robots doable, basically? And this is like global. I've got multiple views, millions of views on certain videos where they're talking about robots. I think we've lost Nimbus. Battery died, but you know, he made a good point there, Kitty. But it's frightening. It's frightening.
Just could make that point and just there and then go.
Cut out. That was it. There's a mic drop. Have they got titties? Boom. Typical Americans, eh? Typical Americans. Everything's about titties.
It is. But I'm absolutely disgusted in Trump. I really, really am. Like you say, he's a businessman. One thing to call us losers. That was the call to arms, wasn't it? That was the like, we're going to turn around and go to you. Yeah. But to then disrespect those people that went to Iraq
and died, people that were, you know, the parents of our young boys and girls that went out to the Middle East to die for these super rich people to have extra oil, extra gold. Unfortunately, that's the truth of the matter, guys. And whether we see, the thing is, I get it, you know, there's meant to be a sense of pride, like, especially if you come from a military family, like, you know, yes, I want to fight and die for my country. That sounds really noble. It sounds admirable. But when you can't have your head in the cloud and just be like, yeah, target over there, destroy it. Like, you know, because, you know, why are we doing these kind of things? Like, you know, I think recently I can't remember what his rank was, but he refused to take some sort of order, sort of, you know, because like he didn't believe in it. He was like, no way, I'm not doing something. They want him to do something heinous. I'll find the story. But
as well, I think the ones that actually, this is going to sound terrible, but I think the ones that actually died got away easy, because the people that came back and were then told so many years later, we didn't really need to go because it was all a load of bullshit, really. And they're sitting there thinking, we got orders to go into schools and do things like, you know, like really horrendous things for queen and country. And now all of a sudden we've been told, yeah, we didn't need to go.
You can research it. The thing about it is this isn't up for argument. This isn't a debate. Donald Trump himself, like, you know, whenever people, like, because people try to, you know, you get the military sort of crew in the UK, you know, yeah, we're doing this for our country and blah blah blah. You know, Donald Trump himself he come out himself and he said, look, it was an illegal war. We shouldn't have gone. This was a waste of time. Like, you know, it's worse than it ever was. Yes, we're still making money. We're still making money for sure. But it was a waste of time. Tony Blair comes out and apologizes. Oh yeah, I've what is it? 500,000 people died 500,000 children died in Iraq or whatever it was. And then after the destabilization of the country, even like God knows how many people died. Like, you know, and the country's run by, like, you know, when you listen to people, criminals and all sorts of people, unsavory people. But as long as they're willing to do the certain deals, as long as certain countries can steal and certain establishments can sort of cruise in the town and sort of dig for oil, dig baby drill and take what they need and get what they need, you know, they're quite happy to deal with these kind of people, like, you know. And we all need to wake up, like, you know. But I feel like we can't trust our governments anymore. And Nigel Farage will be the biggest mistake that this country has ever had, especially if he privatizes the NHS off to American companies, American insurance companies. I really wanted Nimbus on because I wanted him just to explain to people the medical situation in America right now, you know, because I know he's been touched by this personally, like, you know, and a lot of other people as well, because it's so important that people understand that just that basic thing of being able to go to the hospital, get treated, and not come out there with a £10,000 bill that you have to sort of lose your house to. And you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's all right saying, yeah, we're going to treat these people. They do get treated, but they just have to pay. They get stuck with a bill that leaves them bankrupt and leaves them homeless, basically. I don't even think it's that. I don't even think that's the case anywhere. I think they get access to basic treatment, and if you need anything else, you're screwed. Like, you know, I've heard this from people in America.
I went down a rabbit hole this morning, and I found out who actually started the NHS, and it was a prime minister called Clement Attlee, and he was literally the prime minister straight after the war. So he was Winston Churchill's under prime minister, and then he became prime minister after the war, and he started the NHS. And he was a rich boy, but he went to work in the East End to learn everything. And he started the NHS, he started the welfare system, he started all these things. He even, you know, started NATO with, you know, push towards NATO and bringing everybody together. And I just think to myself, all that work for some little tosspot like Nigel Farage to come in and go, actually, we're just going to privatise it. We're just going to privatise it, and everyone's going to have to pay. And you guys that are sitting there saying we want Donald Trump in this country, you are fools. You are fools. You are fools. You ask any
sheep. I say sheep. Absolute sheep. Bah, bah. Like, all of you follow the herd. Trump said this. The right said this. Look, they're lefties. They're, you know, like, imagine this, guys, a whole load of sheep. Let's just say a whole load of white sheep as well. Whole load of sheep all together. And then we cut a line. Left, right. And they're all sitting there going, bah, bah. You're lefty, you're righty. Wait a minute, we're all sheep. We're all following these idiots. We're all following the same master down the hill to the slaughterhouse.
I just think that it's so foolish. You only have to speak to one American. There's a guy on TikTok that's moved to the UK for a couple of months with his wife. And he said that his little girl was ill and he had to take her to the hospital. And he said, and I was like, oh, God, this is going to cost me a fortune, blah, blah, blah. He says, and she was dealt with, she was looked after, he says, and I thought, oh, God, the bill's going to be massive. And then they said, bye, thanks, you know. And he went, where's the bill? And they went, no, it's fine. And he says, I nearly had a heart attack because there was no bill. He says,
they're so envious. Honestly, the ones I speak to are so envious of our NHS. Like, you know, unreal. We've got a couple more subjects we're just going to talk about. We're going to talk about Jake Lang, and I don't know if you've seen the memes already of this health minister from Wales breaking the internet at the minute. Literally breaking the internet all over. I mean, people are really. Let me just see if I've got the video quickly. Just 2 seconds. But should it matter? matter because I thought to myself, like, ultimately, guys, let's just in a nutshell, we've got a health minister. Let's just say she's a larger lady. She's also a Muslim lady of color as well. And she's being attacked because she's the health minister, even by American pundits, American people, American big social media platform kind of people with millions of views on this. She's being destroyed on social media for talking. And if you actually listen to what she said, she's like, oh, we need to worry about taking, like, she was talking like, I thought, what this is the problem. Some people are so shallow, they can't see past. Like, if this was a beautiful white lady with big boobs and cleave, like, big boobs, beautiful on the eye, and she was talking, everything would have gone over people's head. But the fact that people are so shallow that she's not a traditionally attractive lady, I would probably say I'd get away with saying that she's a larger lady. People are attacking her for being who she is.
The point I think a lot of people are really sort of in their heads about is the fact that you can't tell us about health when you're not healthy yourself. And that is the point that when you go down the comments.
Yeah, but it's a very shallow way of thinking. And I think people need to get away from that. Like, anyone that knows boxing, I always say this to people. Terence Crawford, probably the greatest boxer to ever live. Let's just say that. Like, the pound for pound, probably the best boxer ever. This man came up 3 weights to beat Canelo. Like, he's beaten everyone pretty much. Like, go and look at his trainer. His trainer is an obese man that he's had since day one. So it's not always about that. Sometimes you go to the gym and you see personal trainers that are a bit chunky. Does that mean that they don't have the information? They have the information. They might not be good at applying it themselves, but this is a very shallow way of thinking for people, and people fall into it. Obviously, she hit every marker: person of color, Muslim, overweight, not particularly attractive. Like, she hit too many, I think, for people not to sort of, to use this. Let's just say, but I still think it's a bit shallow because as I saw it straight away, and I saw her and I saw her speaking, and she's talking about health. But what did she say afterwards? She said women need to start checking their boobs for lumps and doing bits like that. Like, these are valid things. These are valid things.
Nobody heard it.
No one heard it. They just saw it because they're just shallow. They're so shallow. Honestly, it's really, really shallow thinking, guys. Like, she's a big lady. She's a Muslim. She's a person of color, but she's got the information. You can't tell me that, but that girl weren't the smartest person in her class, like, and this is the thing, like, it's all about the knowledge. You might not apply it. Do as I say, not as I do. This is a very common phrase, but obviously, social media. As soon as I saw it, I knew what was going to happen.
I went straight to the comments, and I knew what was going to be said.
You know what, Kate? I feel like I'm going to launch a podcast on that, literally just thing there. And you nailed that, straight to the comments, because that is what we have become. Honestly, that is what we have become, straight to the comments. Yeah, no one pattern that. I might have to pattern that straight away, actually.
Well, BRUDDC and Kitty, we'll call it BRUDDC and Kitty, straight to the comments.
Yeah, that might be our slogan. That might be a slogan, actually, because you could make honestly, that is where it's at now. Literally, everyone just goes to the comments. Like, it's like we can't wait. We see a video, we know what's coming, and we jump straight to the comments.
It's absolutely ridiculous. As much as I saw I knew what they were going to say. I knew the moment I saw her, and I just went, oh. And this is really horrible. She wasn't the most attractive lady either, was she? So
I would say traditionally attractive, because as traditionally you wouldn't see this woman on a magazine. Let's just say.
Yeah. So not only did they go for her weight, they went for her, like you say, her colour, her religion, and then her looks. And I thought, oh my God, this poor woman. All she's trying to do is help us. She's just trying to say, you need to keep yourself healthy. You need to check your boobs. You need to do this. You need to do that. And everyone's gone, how dare you tell us when you look like that? And like you say, it's
shallow, mate.
When I was twice my weight, but I used to work out like a demon. I mean, I do now anyway, but I used to work out like a demon. And because I was big, people used to say, "No, you need to go and exercise." And I'd say, "Come to the gym with me." I'll run rings round you, love.
And that's always how it is as well. Like, you know, people just judge people on appearance, and we shouldn't be doing this. Like, you know, I know this is what in business and sales and stuff like that, people make a decision on you within 5 seconds. It's just what it is. Within 5 seconds, they will assume you're this way, that way, that way. Like, you know, I've had that my whole life being in the professional world. People see me and they're like, unfortunately, I used to do a lot of calls on the phone, and I used to do a lot of meetings, and I had loads of embarrassing moments. Apparently, I don't speak like a black person. I don't speak the way a black person should speak. Apparently, I don't know what that means. That in itself is kind of problematic if we look at it. But yeah, I used to turn up to meetings, and I'd be like, I'd know the person sitting right in front of me. I'd be like, ring, ring. The phone would answer. Oh, you're Carlos. I thought you were Spanish. But you know, yeah. I suppose they always get that out because Carlos is a Spanish name, so they do have that out. But Kitty, one of the things we've always been taught, we spoke about the conundrums, people that have negative opinions on people, and when they need their help, when like unsurprisingly, you know, the traditional one is, you know, with racist people. Oh, if a black person came to your aid, would you refuse it? Would you help it? Would you take that help, sort of thing? And sometimes, you know, if you're getting your ass kicked by a whole load of people, by an angry mob, as our buddy Jake Lang figured out, you know, I'm pretty sure you would take help from anyone. You know, anyone. If you're a true angry racist man, you don't need no black person's help, and you definitely don't need no Muslims' help. Especially when you're talking about being happy about shooting people like this, like, you know. But Jake Lang, he proved this point. Let's get a quick flashback reminder, guys, of Jake Lang. I don't know what to call him. Some people call him a plant because he's got videos of him on social media saying that his sister is an IDF soldier or something like that, and then he's saying he's a proud white Christian as well. You know, not just proud Christian, proud white Christian. Let's have a look at Jake Lang.
Self-proclaimed Islamophobe and Yahtzee Edward Jake Lang was just saved from an angry crowd in Minneapolis by, you guessed it, a black man and a Muslim man. But before we get to that part, I'm going to show you exactly who this guy is.
The people are done being pushed around by Islam. They are done being pushed around. Oh, there you go, buddy. Oh, that's a Muslim prayer call right there. You hear that? That's a Muslim prayer call.
And it doesn't end there.
Honestly, if I catch a Muslim that's coming at me and blow his head off outside my home and I get it on video, it'll be the most viral video of all time. Jake Lang blows the head off of a Muslim trying to jihad him. Watched it in slow motion 4K from a Ring doorbell. Pretty cool.
And shocker to absolutely no one, he's a January 6er. No, I'm not talking about he just happened to be there. He's a...
So this was him ultimately getting saved by a black man and a Muslim man, the very people that he hates. So me and you were wondering, Kitty, weren't we? We were wondering whether he would have a new lease of life and maybe say, hey, at least maybe get to the stage where, hey, not all of them are that bad. Like maybe at least get to that stage.
I've got a black friend. We even thought that might, but we actually sat, didn't we? And we
were
said,
wondering. We spoke about it, didn't we?
Yeah, we said, what do you think his response is going to be to that? A black guy and a Muslim guy literally helping him stop being attacked by black and Muslim people.
Yeah, it was predominantly white people attacking him. To be fair, it was predominantly white people attacking him. And let's just and people that want to try and downplay this attack. There were people booting this guy in the head. People they when they found him in a car, they wanted him out. And they wanted to freaking go to work on him. Like, you know, this is the thing, guys. You know, it's not all people. You know, white people are more. You know, if like, let's just say me and Kitty in a room, and someone comes in and says something about me, Kitty's going to be more offended than me. Like, you know, she'll be. This is the nature of people that are, you know, on the side of righteousness. Let's just say.
But that's not righteousness. That's me being embarrassed by somebody coming in and saying something and people thinking that I'm part of that. This is what we was talking about the other day. I'm not self-righteous. I'm embarrassed by people like that.
Anyway, update, Jason. Update, Jake Lang. Has he changed? He was on Alex Jones' podcast, and he had a lot to say.
God, the highest creator, my Father in heaven, and absolute Lord and Savior Jesus Christ from delivering me from the mouths of those lions that were trying to tear me limb from limb and kill me because I am a white Christian American man, and I am proud of being a white Christian American man. And these people, these rabid liberal leftists and these absolute lunatic illegal immigrant invaders, all of them swarmed on me in the hundreds. I mean, there was literally thousands of people attacking me. And I walked out of there on my own 2 feet because God's hand is on me and God's hand is on our country, Alex. And I will never forsake my calling to be an American patriot and stand up against any evil, even if I'm outnumbered 5,000 to 1. Let's talk about the two main things that were wrong with yesterday. The Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the 3%ers, the Boogaloo Boys, the American Patriots watched a white Christian conservative get lynched, and nobody was there to stand up for me. The police were also gone. And so where are our brave American patriots?
Yeah, it sounds like he fought it sounds like he fought his way out, you know, like a brave patriot, a brave American bald eagle. He flew, he spread his wings and he flew through the crowd on his own, you know, when in fact, sometimes the creator does send divine intervention.
Yeah.
And in this case, it sent him a black man and a Muslim man.
Do you not think that was to teach him a lesson?
Of course, life's all about lessons.
Higher creator and whatever. There is your lesson. There is your Damascus moment. There is your epiphany that we are just people. These are just people. It doesn't matter about the color of their skin. It doesn't matter about the religion that they read. These are just people. And that was the lesson that the creator sent him. But that man, I'm sorry, is that thick. One of them thick idiot Americans that think being white gives you privilege. That is white privilege. That is absolute delusional white privilege, and it disgusts me and it embarrasses me being what people consider a white person.
That's interesting to hear. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I would just say that, the moment I saw this, I thought to myself, if he survives this, he's a superstar. He's a superstar. All he has to do is continue to play to his angle. This social media is all about the money game as well. Like once money kicks in, he would have had thousands of requests for podcasts to offering him money. He would have been offered thousands of pounds to sort of maybe even millions of pounds to sort of join sides with bigger creators and stuff like that, do their podcast, push their agenda, because he's got a mic in front of him now. He's got his 2 minutes of fame, so yeah, it was expected from me, but the truth of the matter is, there was divine intervention, and the way the creator works is he'll send people that you'll never expect. Just go off total subject. I remember watching this podcast, and this lady, she had a situation with a guy, and she told her friend about it, well, her new partner about it, and they arranged to beat this guy. They arranged to lure this guy out and beat him up with a baseball bat. And so the plan was to, obviously, the guys were going to hide in this phone box with a baseball bat, wait for the guy to turn up and beat him over the head. And this guy said that someone was banging on the phone box door, and like really trying to get his attention, open the door. And the guy said to him, "Go home. You're going to make a big mistake tonight." And he just blew it off. So the guy turns up. Lo and behold, him and his buddy beat this guy with a baseball bat. I think he gets 10 years in prison. But he speaks about it. He speaks about, why was this random guy so adamant to try get in this phone box and tell me to go home? I'm going to make a big mistake. And I think that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes the creator will send someone to try and stop you from making a mistake. Sometimes people are thick-headed and they just ignore it. If that guy had gone home, but some people will take it as a humbling experience, and some people will just take it as, if you're able to benefit from this social media world, you're going to just, unfortunately, this is where we are.
I don't think I could sell myself out that way. I just don't think I've morally. But then again, I've said to you also, wave that to me.
Yeah. Trust me, guys. Kitty be like testifying against me. Kitty, BRUDDC, that guy. Yeah, we got some bad news. We want him gone. He needs to go to jail. Kitty be like, I am not turning down BRUDDC. Well, there's two options, Kitty. There's
half.
yeah. There's two options, Kitty. There's £1 million cash over here, or there's some guys that like to burn houses down during people are sleeping. And this is unfortunately, this is the reality of the serious world of politics, like the Andrew Tate level of the world of politics. Once you become influential like that, you know, there are serious decisions to be made. And some people are strong and stick to their guns. And that takes a lot of strength because people got families, like, you know. But
I think the good thing is you and I, we do talk quite a lot. And I think if one was being pushed one way, we'd talk to each other. I'd like to think that we would, or we'd at least go halves on anything.
Yeah. So if you see if Man City tried to kidnap me because I'm being too influential in Manchester, you know, and you start seeing we have a Manchester City badge here, like, you know, come on you Blues, you start seeing that, then you know they've got to me. You know the Matrix have got to me.
Will you be quite upset because I've heard that they're after Elliot Anderson?
Well, Man City need a lot of help. Let's just say. I said at the start of the season, the very start of the season, like, you know, that Man City would really struggle. They just push too many players forward. Yeah. They are literally, if you look at the way they're conceding goals, like, you know, it's mental, man. They're pressing with every single player but two players most of the time.
I know that you wanted him though, didn't you? You wanted him at Man U.
I've watched him. You know, I've watched him. I've got to be honest. He looks like an okay player. He hasn't sort of got. He hasn't. I don't know if he's quite a Manchester United player yet, but you never know until they're there just yet. You know.
Whether it can be manipulated within the team as well. You know, like sort of hitting a switch that turns it on even more. I've said this about Amari Hutchinson, and people say that Amari Hutchinson isn't that great, but I say get him in the right, you know, with the right people around him, and it switches on. And I say this. I said this with Elanga. That's what happened. It wasn't the fact that Elanga was a great player; it was the fact that it was a great team. And
yeah, well, sometimes though, players are bigger than sometimes players are better than what's around them, and they can look like superstars. The moment they and this happens a hell of a lot in all sorts of sports. The moment you buy a player that's doing well in a smaller club with lower expectations, the moment the expectations are, you need to give 100% every week, and you need to be the best player on the pitch every week. Like, you know, that's a total different structure and a total different dynamic of requirements. And sometimes some people can't handle it. Most players that Man United sign with big money, you know, they don't live up to the expectations. Most of them don't. Like, you know, I think we've bought about 50 something players since Fergie left. Spent about I think it's about £1 billion. I think, and I couldn't tell you where that money went.
Spent 200 million on this season, didn't you?
Yeah, this season alone, and whoever did that was they got some problems. But Kitty, fabulous catch up. We're back at business. Next time you're going to be late for a show, do let me know, please. Guys, for BRUDDC and Kitty show, make sure you contribute to the show, guys. Make sure you comment, make sure you like. And Kitty, we're going to be launching on Monday our first ever extension of Straight to the Comments.
Straight to the comments. I was just about to say, we need the t-shirts, don't we? We need the t-shirts. Go straight to the comments.
Yeah, I might need to pattern a channel. I might need to pattern a channel before someone nicks it anyway. But yes, Kitty. Everyone, have a lovely weekend, guys. Peace and love to you. And we will end in the traditional songs of BRUDDC and Kitty.
Ho! Live from your favorite show. Oh, yeah. It's BRUDDC and Kitty. Oh, yeah.